Well, I think it's fair to say that the situation in Afghanistan is a complete and utter mess. And the window available for countries like Australia to go in and take Afghanis to home countries is narrowing. Dr. Rodger Shanahan is a research fellow at the Lowy Institute, and he's a former army officer with operational service in the Middle East, East Timor, and Afghanistan. He joins me right now from Sydney. Rodger, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
12 deaths they're reporting from around that airport area. I get the impression, you tell me what's going on, the Taliban are just waiting for the planes, for the international rescue attempts to finish. They want it done quickly and they want to get on with governing Afghanistan.
Yeah, listen, the reality is nobody knows exactly what's going on at the moment. And I think it's going to take weeks and months for this to play out to get a better understanding of exactly what the Taliban's attitude is on the ground, how unified they are, and how realistic or understanding they are of external agents in running the country. So, yeah, it's very early days yet, and everybody's scrambling to try and get an understanding what the future holds.
We've got about 160 out of the country. We want 3,000, probably more. We're not going to be able to get that number. I get the feeling that window is narrowing.
Well, I think that 3,000 was an annual intake. They're not necessarily, you're not going to take 3,000 out all at one stage. I don't think that was ever the plan. The people being taken out, as far as we understand, are Australian citizens and people with pre-existing visas. So the other people will be made up from a range of people, understanding there are also several million Afghan refugees in neighbouring countries that also would like to come to Australia.
Does it surprise you that there are also reports of Afghanis in the provinces doing their best to take or resist Taliban control?
Oh well, yeah, there are Afghans certainly who don't welcome the Taliban government, and yeah, there are very early reports of some Afghans having moved north to the Panjshir Valley. And again, we're only a couple of days after Kabul fell, so we need to see what their resources are, how serious they are, what the international community's attitude towards them is going to be. But yeah, certainly there are uh, opposition groups to the Taliban and will be in the future.
Did you believe any of what you heard at that press conference this week?
Well, listen, I think nobody is under any false illusion about the Taliban or how ideological an organisation they are, but um, where people are going to be waiting for weeks and months to see what kind of approach they take to governing Afghanistan. Is this version of the Taliban any different to the previous version? At its heart, it's not, but how pragmatic are they and how many concessions are they going to make in order to gain some kind of legitimacy both in the region and internationally? And that's something you won't know for months yet.
So they do want international legitimacy. Are you convinced of that?
Well, certainly, if for no other reason than you need access to international funds, you want to be able to stand with other countries. You're not going to die in a ditch over, but it's certainly something that is quite different from between this version of the Taliban and the previous version of the Taliban. And remember, they're much more worldly. They've been negotiating in Doha with the US. We've seen photographs with the Chinese foreign minister. These are a much more worldly group, if you will, than the previous version. Does that mean that they are going to make the kind of modifications to be internationally accepted? It's doubtful, but we've still got to have to wait and see for the coming months.
All right. Rodger Shanahan, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.